was a California August in 82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest, you step in. We finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife. Right. People might think that we're frontin', then they see all the noobs online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by SCO. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal. Tell me about the time the E-Bombs world stole your chop like I stole your girl. Catch me on Gen May, not something awful. Low tax would ban me, raffle. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD, and I am flying solo once again. But don't worry, we will be having a panel very soon. I have contacted a few people. We're making things happen. So we're going to have some new faces, some old faces, some faces you might not like coming around, being on the panel. But until then, you got me, and you need to get hyped. What's up, everybody? We got Luke's Awakening, Little Girl, Shane, it's Mr. Toker, 56K Warning, The Army, and of course, No Call, No Show here early. And we got Haywood Jabloni. Haven't seen you in a while. I am chitting here. Look at that. Got my nice little Ultra Monster, Ultra Strawberry Dreams. Delicious. Frog King, is that Dragon Quest? No, it's not. It's just me. It's who I am. Pay someone to draw that up? Nah, we don't pay people. We don't. What faces don't I like? I don't know. It's probably not anyone you don't like. It might be some people that someone else don't like. There's always somebody doesn't like, right? My week has been so fantastic, so great. We did a huge stream on Thursday. Wednesday, I was on Sweet and Tender Hooligans channel. We talked to Miko, and then Thursday we followed it up with a live reaction to Amico Forever. we took a 46-minute supercut of Amico Forever and turned that into a 6-hour live stream. 6 hours. We had DJ Slopes pop in. Of course, we had Tamu Amico and Sweet and Tender Hooligan on panel. We talked about lots of things, not just Amico. We always, go crazy. We ended up talking Revenge of the Nerds, the circulatory system, the nervous system. We're just all over the place, and that's the way we like it. That's the way this show runs the best. Now I got to put an F in the chat for Saggy Melons. I did see that she has quit YouTube. She's saying it's permanent. I hate to see you go, Saggy. Hate to see you go. Hooligan was the real MVP. He was until he left. He left early. He cut out. Excuse me. Sweet Tender Hooligan said he was in there for the long haul. I'm in there for the long haul, he says. And then he cuts out early. Shane says, I thought she loved the drama. It's personal stuff. She'll probably come back, stop doing drama, stop doing any of that, and just talk normal stuff. Hey, what's up, CJH? So we got a lot of things on the docket tonight. Lots of gaming stuff, a few nerd things to discuss. We're going to be discussing Microsoft. As you can see, Microsoft has got that W. They finally got themselves a W. So we're going to be talking about the FTC appeals getting denied. But it's not all good news for Microsoft. Not all good news, because they're also ending their Game Pass Friends and Family. Ooh. So we got to talk about that. Of course, we're going to be discussing Atari's Lunar Lander, getting a reimagined deep narrative for 2024. That's what everybody asked for. They asked for Lunar Lander to have a deep story remake. We got to talk about the Assassin's Creed haptic feedback shirt. That's right. They're building a shirt that you can wear while playing Assassin's Creed, and it'll let you feel every stab, every punch. Then we got to talk about some gaming history, because 87% missing. The disappearance of classic games. We've got to talk about how classic games are just turning into the wind. Saggy peaked when she realized I was a god. Yeah. We got to talk about The Flash, how it bombed at the box office. We're going to take a look at Hugh Jackman dressed up as Wolverine. We got to go over the weekly polls and, of course, some other things, whatever pops up as we go along. But welcome. Is Evil Too Butthurt to show up? Seems pretty lame. No idea. People are free to come and go as they please. This is a safe zone. This is a free and clear Sophos. No gang tagging allowed. This wall is clear. It's a neutral zone, is what I'm saying. Speaking of finishing games, Evil's not finishing games. I don't know about that, but I am knocking them out. I have just finished my 43rd game for the year. I finished Inscription. Whoever recommended this, I forget who recommended me to play Inscription. It is very good, but also very weird because it is a collectible card game / ARG. It has 3 phases. So the first phase is what you see in the preview pictures and everything. Everything about Inscription, what you see is actually just 1/3 of the game. There is like an overarching narrative that connects the 3 acts, as well as live footage, a live action ARG that goes along with it. It is deep lore for what I thought was just going to be a simple little collectible card game. But it is fantastic. If you haven't played it, if you're into that creepy stuff, I do suggest picking up Inscription, playing it. If you are a World War II buff, you'll love it because apparently, Inscription, spoiler alert, evil Hitler is involved in the plot of Inscription. No ads, no clickbait, just straight to the point. What's up, sweet and tender? Surprised you're showing your face after ducking out early, leaving me and Slopes alone. Like I said, I did beat the 3 Rayforce, Raystorm, Ray Crisis games, South Park Fractured But Whole. So I'm just knocking them out. I think I'll have 52. Probably, if I'm being generous, I'll say November. By the beginning of November, I should have them all knocked out for the year. Right now, I'm playing Swords of Ditto. Remember way back when Gary had recommended it. I picked it up, and I never actually played it. But now I'm playing it, checking it out. It's all right. Reminds me a lot of Adventure Time. So, I'm going to probably knock that one out next. And then I'm going to move on to the Yakuza games. I have all 7, 8 if you count 0. So I got to get those out of the way. Then I'll probably jump over to Assassin's Creed and finish the year off with a couple of Assassin's Creed games. I don't know. I think I have a good shot at maybe getting 60, 65 games done this year. All right. I think that's enough of me boring you with my life and what I'm up to. Let's just get into some Microsoft news. Let's see. This is coming to us from The Verge. Gary wants the internet to Gary the internet prawn sensor. Yeah, he's weird. He's weird on that. Personally, I don't care. Make your money, ladies. Do what you gotta do. I'm not gonna date an OnlyFans model or a Fansly model or a stripper or porn star, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do it. All right, like I said, this comes to us from The Verge. A court denies FTC's last-ditch attempt to stop Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. A second loss for the FTC this week. That's right. 2 losses in 1 week. I think the head of the FTC is probably on her way out. This is like her 3rd major loss. She went after Facebook, I believe. And now she went after Microsoft. Failed all 3. It says the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has lost what may be its final attempt to block Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard. It's the second loss for the FTC after a U.S. federal judge denied its request for preliminary injunction earlier this week to block Microsoft from acquiring Activision Blizzard until the conclusion of a separate FTC administrative case. The FTC appealed the decision by Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley, and now the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has denied its request for emergency relief to prevent Microsoft from closing the deal until the result of the FTC's appeal is complete. So before everybody, gets too excited, everybody wants to be all excited. Microsoft has won. This is a slam dunk. It's over. It's actually not over. See, the FTC has a case against Microsoft already on the docket. What they wanted to do was stop Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard until that was settled. And the judge is saying, no, they're allowed to go ahead, go through with it. And then whatever happens afterward, we'll take care of it then. So they still, the decision could be reversed. They could buy Activision Blizzard and then a couple months down the road, they'll be like, nah, not going to happen. Got to break you up. Says Microsoft welcomed the denial late on Friday. We appreciate the Ninth Circuit's swift response denying the FTC's motion to further delay the deal. This brings us another step closer to the finish line in the marathon of global regulator reviews, said Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft, in a statement to The Verge. This means Microsoft is now free to close its Activision Blizzard deal after a temporary restraining order, part of Judge Corley's order, expires at 11:59 p.m. PT tonight. Microsoft has until July 18th to close its deal. Otherwise, it may need to renegotiate terms with Activision Blizzard, pay $3 billion in breakup fees if Activision wants to walk away, or simply let the deal deadline naturally extend if both parties are happy to. Microsoft might not be able to close the deal immediately, though. There's still the complicated matter of the deal being blocked in the UK. The Competition and Market Authority, the CMA, in the UK blocked Microsoft's deal earlier this year, citing competition fears in the emerging cloud gaming market. Both the CMA and Microsoft have agreed to pause their legal battles to figure out how the transaction might be modified in order to address the CMA's cloud gaming concerns. So the UK still has the block, but that's probably going to get settled. There's going to be some negotiations. Sony is milking remasters. Microsoft win is a jumpstart of old Sony. Microsoft winning equals Sony pulling its weight. Maybe. I think that what's going to end up happening is Microsoft is going to shoot itself in the foot big time if they win this. If it goes through and everything's set, I have a feeling we're going to end up seeing Microsoft get out of the console market. Realistically, if they buy Activision Blizzard with Call of Duty, with the Bethesda titles, with everything under their belt, they could probably move to just being a Game Pass subscription service and just put that on Sony. Be like a Netflix of video games. And so let Sony cover the cost of actually making the machines, and then Microsoft just makes all the money off of the software. The UK regulator also warned this week that Microsoft's proposal may lead to new merger investigation, and that this discussion with Microsoft were at an early stage. The CMA has also issued a notice of extension for its overall investigation into the deal earlier today, moving the date for the final undertaking or final order from July 18th to August 29th. The CMA's extension comes hours after Bloomberg reported that Microsoft has considered selling UK cloud gaming rights to a telecommunications, gaming, or internet company to allow Activision deal to close in the UK. This was updated on July 15th with the Microsoft comment. So far, good news for Microsoft, but not the best news. We still got a couple of hurdles to go over. Now some bad news for the fans of Microsoft. Hours after this judge said, hey, no injunction, no blocking, let's just get this over with, Microsoft put this out. It says, thank you for participating in the Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family Preview Program. It has been incredible seeing our Game Pass Ultimate members share the fun of Game Pass with their friends and family. On August 15th, 2023, we will be ending the preview as we look to take the learning from the past several months and investigate building an offer which we can launch worldwide in the future. What does this mean for my membership? Starting the 17th of July, you will no longer be able to add new members to your account. On the 15th of August, your existing membership will end as Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family will no longer be available in your market. Starting the 15th of August, we'll be providing you with a minimum of 3 months Xbox Game Pass Ultimate as a thank you for participating in our preview program. Additional time may be included depending on your bank time. We will send you your personalized code on console or in the Xbox app on a PC, which must be redeemed with the Xbox account you used for your current Xbox. So, all those people that were, friends and family members sharing their little Game Pass, getting all that. Microsoft is already moving to increase the price of Game Pass, moving to get rid of all the sharing, all the people using it. They anticipate a lot of new people wanting to sign up. They're going to force you to sign up. They're pulling a Netflix essentially. So there it is already. Like I said, within hours of the Microsoft court order, we're getting this. Terrible, terrible. Ooh, they got a new little reduced mic background noise. Look at that. All right, so it's not getting ready to have the sharing tier. Nah, they're not going to have a sharing tier. They're either going to increase the price super high for the family sharing tier, or they're just going to get rid of it completely. 56K. Watch. Oh my God, does this really HBO Max have a tier for HD audio? That's crazy. It's ridiculous. There's probably people paying for it too. Yeah. So Microsoft, not all wins. Not everything is a win for Microsoft. At least for Xbox, they're getting a little bad news. All right, moving on. This comes to us via the Video Game History Foundation. There's 87% missing, the disappearance of classic video games. And I know a lot of you guys are retro gamers. You love your Ataris, your Intellivisions. No Whammy says family will be one household, no sharing across regions. Maybe. 56 says removing features to charge for them. Yeah, we'll see. But like I said, it's very telling that they're doing this as almost immediately after this little court decision. All right, it says new study reveals most classic video games are completely unavailable. The Video Game History Foundation, in partnership with the Software Preservation Network, has conducted the first ever study on the commercial availability of classic video games, and the results are bleak. 87% of classic video games released in the United States are critically endangered. Imagine if the only way to watch Titanic was to find a used VHS tape and maintain your own vintage equipment so that you could still watch it. And what if no library, not even the Library of Congress, could do any better? They could keep and digitize the VHS of Titanic, but you have to go all the way there to watch it. It sounds crazy, but that's the reality we live in with video games. A $180 billion industry, while the games and their history disappear. Since just 13% of video game history is being represented in the current marketplace, in fact, no period of video game history defined in this study even cracked 20% representation. Look at that. The 1960s to 1964, you're almost getting nothing. 1970 and 1974, you get a little bit. Nothing cracks 20%. For accessing nearly 9 in 10 classic games, there are a few options. Seek out and maintain vintage collectible games and hardware, travel across the country to visit a library, or piracy. None of those options are desirable, which means the most video games are inaccessible to all but the most diehard and dedicated fans. Now, that's pretty grim. This is where libraries and archives should come in. Anyone should be able to easily explore, research, and play classic video games in the same way that you can read classic novels, listen to classic albums, and watch classic movies. But outdated copyright laws are preventing institutions like ours from doing our jobs. It says goals of this study: get expanded exemptions for libraries and organizations preserving video games, which are currently far more limited than their ability to preserve books, movies, audio, etc. This is what anti-consumer gets you. Yeah. It's because video games were treated as toys. Originally, video games are treated no different than electronic toys. You can't pick up toys from the 70s. You can't go to the library and, go play with the Steve Austin $1 Million Man toy. You can't play with a Evel Knievel stunt cycle from the Library of Congress, right? Or from your local library. And video games were treated much the same, like toys. toys that children play with, and not something that needs to be preserved, not something that was historical value, not something that was cultural. Historically, I would doubt more than 20% of most video games were good. This might be true, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be preserved. Some games are bad, but they have historical value. Being, it might be the first game with sound. It might be the first game with multiplayer, or the first game with a certain mechanic that goes on to start a genre. So there are historical value to preserving some of these games. It says how this study helps. The video game industry's main lobbying group has successfully argued to the U.S. Copyright Office that the industry already does enough to preserve its own history commercially, and that additional protections for preservation institutions would hurt their bottom line. We proved them wrong. The industry has actually only managed to make 13% of its history available, and it's unlikely to get better. The argument that these games are commercially available is what's keeping video games behind in the preservation world. Quick facts. 87% of classic games are not in release and are considered critically endangered. Availability is low across every platform and time period tracked in the study. Libraries and archives can digitally preserve, but not digitally share video games, and can provide on-premise access only. Libraries and archives are allowed to digitally share other media types, such as books, film, and audio, and are not restricted to the on-premise access. The Entertainment Software Association, the ESA, the video games industry's lobbying group, has consistently fought against expanding video game preservation within libraries and archives. The next rulemaking proceeding under the DMCA, Title 17, Section 1201 of the United States Code, is scheduled for 2024. We're hopeful that this study will incite change and that video game preservation will become stronger before we lose more. And of course, you can check it out, volunteer. You can read the full study if you want. Just go to gamehistory.org/87%. I think this is terrible. I think this is really eye-opening because, I am very against piracy. I'm very against emulation. And I'm always saying, just go buy it. Just go buy the game. But the fact that 87% of the games can't, do it. It says archiving is easy. Organizing them is where things get expensive. This is true, but they can't even archive them. I mean, they could technically archive some of them, but they can't let the public use them. It's a really weird thing because of the DMCA and because of the way video games are treated. They're definitely not treated the same way that movies are treated. They're not treated the same way as books. And I think they're just as culturally significant, culturally relevant as either one of those. So I think hopefully things change. I'm sure most of the code is available. No capitalistic company society would throw this stuff out. Yeah, you would be surprised. No whammies. Just like old movies that get thrown out, old TV shows get taped over because studios are stupid, because local studios didn't have enough tapes in the 70s. And that's why it's really hard to find some older, TV shows and cartoons and things like that. Because certain things just weren't kept. Video games are no different. I think there was one game, I can't remember what the name of it was, but they were making a remake, and they basically said that they had to remake the game from scratch because they had threw out the code, because the code was just gone. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of games, you have certain games that they don't even know who owns the game, right? Who has the actual ownership. So they probably don't know where the code is. So definitely hope this study helps. Hopefully things change. It would be nice to go to the library and pick up a copy of Little Samson, get a digital copy of some of these older games. I think it would definitely help. That would definitely with YouTube and the way YouTubers are, I can imagine, checking out a couple of games from the library and doing a classic gaming night. Some of the more popular YouTubers. So, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully things get better. I just wanted to make sure, shine a little light on it in my own way. Old VHS taping was all over the internet until Disney Plus came along and purged them all. That's true. There are a lot of people who tape stuff, but that's not really archiving, right? It's not really available to the public. You want to be able to go to, like I said, to like a library or something and check out a digitized version or a physical copy of it. Especially a physical copy on new software, new hardware. You don't want to have to maintain. I have to keep a VHS player. I had to take an old tape out. You want to be able to play these on modern machines, and that's one of the problems with gaming. Right? Sure, you could probably go and buy some old Atari tapes, but now you got to go find an old Atari. You got to figure out how to hook it up to your TV. So there's a lot of barriers to entry to retro gaming, to old gaming. And that's the problem. All right, moving on. Moving on to some more happier news in the retro gaming world. This comes to us from Eurogamer. It says, Atari's arcade classic Lunar Lander being reimagined with, quote, deep narrative for 2024. By Chris Tale's studio, Dreams Unincorporated. Atari's 1979 arcade classic Lunar Lander is being reimagined by Dreams Unincorporated, the studio behind last year's striking Chris Tales for release in early 2024. The original Lunar Lander, perhaps the most famous entry in a subgenre that can be traced back as far as 1969, was exquisite in its compelling simplicity, requiring players to do nothing more than carefully park their lunar landing module at a fixed point on the moon's rugged terrain, by manipulating the craft thrusters and controlling its orientation. Dreams Unincorporated reimagining, though, which will be known as Lunar Lander Beyond, is looking to do something a little bit different, taking the moon landing premise of the arcade original and infusing it with a rich backstory and deep narrative. There's also talk of simulation and precision gravity flying mechanics in the studio announcement. Let's take a look at the studio announcement for Lunar Lander Beyond. You wouldn't know that because you are not a pilot.
It began with the moon.
We have liftoff.
Chosen for us by ancestors from centuries past.
Wow, so Lunar Lander's gonna have a dystopian future. Ah, man. Lunar Lander retro reimagined. What's up, Tommy O? This is weird. This is already. I'm.
And so here we are, scattered across planets. We reach out into space, grasping for the infinite.
Is it like fucking Galactus is destroying planets and you gotta land your Lunar Lander? This has to be the most off the wall premise for reimagining an old Atari game.
Our forebears chose the moon, for they never lived to travel.
Beyond. Lunar Lander Beyond. Wow, this is something that's it says, as a newly appointed captain of the Pegasus Corporation, you must guide a vibrant crew of intrepid explorers, eclectic advisors, and state-of-the-art landers through a series of demanding missions. Atari explains in its reveal of Dreams Uncorporated's modern adaptation. Embrace yourself as you soar through the cosmos, delivering crucial cargo, extracting valuable resources, and conducting daring rescues across a celestial tapestry of enigmatic moons and captivating planets. The publisher continues. There's peril afoot amid all the spacefaring, however, but the sudden appearance of mysterious portals threatening to send players on a collision course with sinister truths that lie unseen behind the universe. Lunar Lander Beyond follows a number of surprisingly strong outings from Atari in recent times, including Jeff Minter's excellent reimagining of prototype arcade game Ara Ak, and last year's wonderfully interactive museum-style Atari 50th anniversary celebration. It's due to launch for Switch, blah, 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 blah. First half of next year. Lunar Lander. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Never trust indie titles that don't show gameplay first. It's true. Atari is known for weird premises. Indeed. I just find it funny. I find it funny that Atari, the Atari VCS, when they came out, they were seen as the laughing stock. They were seen as a joke, right? And Intellivision was heralded as they're going to retro reimagine things. They're the ones that are getting it right. Tommy Tallarico is a gamer. He's a gaming icon. He's going to fix everything. Tommy's going to make it better. And somehow or another, Tommy failed, flopped on his face, and Atari is doing the things that Tommy said he was going to do. Rabbit Dude, what's up? Says, Tony, did you hear about Gex coming back as a remake? It's not a remake, from my understanding. It is a remaster. They're not changing anything. They're just updating it for modern hardware. It's coming from limited run games, and people are complaining about that, Rabbit Dude. I don't know if you heard about that, but people are complaining about the Gex remake. We're going to have a, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be attacking Gex in the coming months. So brace yourselves. If you're a fan of Gex, brace yourselves to be called all kind of all kind of names. Brace yourselves to be attacked as being phobic. Let me see if I can pull up an article here. Because they were just talking about this today, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Where is it? All right, here it is. This comes to us from the lovely people over at Dual Shockers. Dual Shockers. Let's take a look at that. It's not out yet. It says Gex was great, but the re-release needs to fix the dodgy dialogue. Old Dual Shockers. We're using the archive of this. Just port the original game. Well, that's what it's doing. It's a port using the custom engine, the Carbon engine. Gaming deserves to die. What? Don't say that. What's going on, Tony? Let's congratulate AtGame for getting with Microsoft for some game licenses. I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about the AtGame stuff. All right. It says, well, nostalgia always wins out in the end. And if 3D platformer like Glover can reemerge some 30 years after its lukewarm initial release, then there's no reason why the ever-quipping, shade-wearing gecko known as Gex shouldn't do the same. Limited Run Games have announced that they'll be re-releasing the first 3 Gex games, Gex, Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. The games will be rebuilt with the developer's own Carbon engine, which should get them running swimmingly on modern systems. Now, there are some 3D platformers from the 90s that have withstood the years pretty well. Banjo-Kazooie is still a delight to revisit, and is a testament to Crash Bandicoot and Spyro that their respective remakes keep the same level designs and environment, merely giving them a lick of paint. This ain't true. This is completely, this is already when you know people aren't gamers, right? If anybody knows anything, the Crash Bandicoot re-release was plagued with all sorts of issues. The emulation was bad. And so the platforming was off. It wasn't exactly identical to the original, and then they changed one of the boss fights. There was a spot in the boss fight you could hide. They removed that from the remake for some reason. But Gex wasn't like all the other 3D platformer mascots. He had a lot to say about everything and was a bit of a 90s pop culture reference machine. I am your father jokes, Karate Kid references, James Bond riffs, the works. Where most other mascots stuck to expressive whoops, grunts, and other assorted sounds, Gex even had level-specific dialogue, some of which was utterly incomprehensible to a 10-year-old me. In hindsight, lines like "Nice robe, Mr. Hefner," and "I'm lost in Dick Dale's colon" just didn't feel directed at kids, despite the game's E for everyone rating. And yet it didn't feel adult either. It existed in a bit of a smart-ass, slightly edgelordy realm for kids between maybe the ages of 13 and 15, which is probably the very worst demographic to shoot for. You 13-year-old to 15-year-old kids suck. Dual Shocker says, screw you guys. The real problem is boomers want old games. Yeah. Tommy says the real problem with Gex is it's way too hard and the hitboxes aren't right. It's certainly known as one of those games where the first level looks 100 times better than the other ones graphically. Damn. Gex famously had a slider for you to turn up and down the amount of dialogue. Just turn it off if you don't like it. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem, Tommy. They don't want to turn it off. They want to turn it off for everybody, right? These are the type of people that if they don't like it, if they're offended by something, they want everyone else to not be able to enjoy it. Gex would get a bit dicey with his dialogue. A little tongue now, a little tail later. It's kind of vile. No, it's not. How is that vile? While uttering ancient Chinese level in a stereotypical Chinese accent probably wouldn't fly today. On the Toon TV level, meanwhile, after spinning around in circles on a frozen pond for a while, Gex would shout, "Hey, I feel like I'm trapped in Boy George's pants." I never got it at the time because at the age of 10, you don't get much. No, because you're stupid. At the age of 10, I got all kinds of jokes. I am sorry that you were a dumb 10-year-old. Who wrote this? Robert Zach, you're a dumb 10-year-old. You're probably a dumb adult too. But hindsight, I wonder if actually Gex had conflated Boy George with Pete Burns and his famous campy hit, You Spin Me Round. Or was it Boy George because Karma Chameleon? And that's, well, not a gecko, but at least a lizard? Or am I giving it too much credit and it's some snide dig at the fact that Boy George is gay? Half the time, I didn't know what Gex was on about, and his voice and accent jumped about in the manner of a hyperactive child after 2 bowls of Fruit Loops. But the very fact that he had hundreds of lines of context and level-specific dialogue was fascinating to me, and entrenched Gex somewhere deep in my mind as a 90s platforming icon, right next to the likes of Mario, Sonic, and Crash. We are no longer getting explicit versions of content. It's all clean, yeah. It's all clean. Another boomer money grab. It is. Pretty much everything limited run games puts out is a money grab. Let's be honest. But really, this is one of the problems what I was talking about with someone said they should just make companies release new versions of the games. They'll change it. They'll keep changing the games and tinkering with them until the original version is gone and lost to time. Rabbit Dude says the main problem with Gex is the dialogue. It's kind of dated. It is, but that's part of the charm. That's part of the reason why you get it. Yeah, I'm more into those video game companies that make video games and they don't want any money. You know, like, isn't every video game a money grab, or did you guys think this was art? Tommy, you're wrong. You're wrong, Tommy. You're wrong and dumb. There are many games that they are made in a artistic endeavor. Lots of indie games. Just because they're successful doesn't mean that they weren't made for artistic reasons. Into the Woods is an example. Um, some of the less popular games, Wrong and Dumb, Clipped. Yeah, like I said, there are games that they know that are not. This War of Mine is more on the artsy side. There are a lot of artsy games that they're not planned to be commercial hits, right? So it's not always about making money. While leaving all that dialogue intact for the upcoming re-release will probably highlight how dated it's become, something that will really shine with a bit of up-resing are the gorgeous levels, particularly in Enter the Gecko. Strong theming was a must in 3D platformers back in the day, and Enter the Gecko's levels were gorgeous, accessed as channels on a TV that you jumped into, with each channel divided into a couple of stages. There was a cartoon channel riffing heavily on Looney Tunes of old, haunted mansions and castles of the horror channel, and a prehistory channel that pitted you against dinosaurs and tribal people wearing masks. On the N64, there was even an exclusive level based on the Titanic as it's sinking, so you're swimming around underwater in the engine rooms while the whole level is skewed at an uncomfortable angle. In truth, it's one of the worst levels in the game, but it was still novel. The whole thing had such a 90s late night channel hopping on cable TV feel to it, and there were tons of great graphical flourishes with rich colors in the foreground, surprisingly detailed skyboxes for the time, and clever little reflection effects. Coming from Crystal Dynamics of Tomb Raider fame, with the second and third games directed by Dead Space's Glenn Schofield, there was real talent at the young studio, and that shows. So why are you trying to squash the talent? Why are you trying to squash what they made? Hades is an artistic masterpiece. Hades is fantastic. I love Hades. I am excited for Hades too. Now you're being tricked into thinking those games were made for artistic reasons, just like you were tricked when you bought Green Day records. I have Dookie on CD. I don't have a record. I got Dookie on CD. It's fantastic. The imaginative visual design seeps all the way down to the monster design. Some of the boss fights were brilliant. The final one being legitimately terrifying. No, it's not. And each channel had distinctive enemies such as zombies that you'd smash into pieces on Smellraiser, or ninjas who pelted you with throwing stars on Samurai Night Fever. It's a whole vibe of being stuck in TV iconography during the boom of years of cable television with strong tone, and arguably more evocative than the fantasy and fairy tale realms that most other 3D platformers were set in. Intriguingly, in both the 3D Gex games, the titular lizard had a separate voice actor for the US and UK versions, so I'm curious to see if the re-release, if A, the dialogue gets re-recorded, and B, whether they choose to go with the UK or US voice work. Naturally, I'd be biased toward my British brethren, but I do genuinely think that the suave Bond stylings of the British Gex are better. See, less cringy than most zany stylings of the US one, which are not only a tad annoying listening back to them, but also make Gex sound a little stuck in his time. So go for suave Gex. Go for suave Gex, and he's more likely to catch on with modern audiences. No one cares about modern audiences. Fuck modern audiences. And honestly, while we're at it, they should cut some of the obscure, dicey sex jokes and slimy references to things that people today really won't care about. There's actually some nice old school 3D platforming to be had here that could really benefit from unlocked frame rates and unlimited draw distances that mean level objects aren't just popping in 10 feet in front of you. But if this is to be a triumphant return for the slick lizard, he's going to need to learn to keep his gummy mouth shut. You got to love it. So expect more of this in the coming months. Expect more attacks on Gex. You know, they don't want you to have any fun. No fun allowed. Unpacking, a game about unpacking. I seen that. I actually want to get that. It looked neat. It looked fun. Do you own any rap CDs from the 90s? I think I have one or two. I know I had Juicy. I don't know if I have any other ones. I might have a Cypress Hill CD or a lighter shade of brown somewhere. Don't worry, man. Gex isn't that fun. It might not be, but it's not. It's not for me to decide, right? You shouldn't change history. You shouldn't deny what came before. You could surely, if it is so offensive, if Gex is so offensive and so terrible, just slap a disclaimer. Say, hey, the game was made in a time when these jokes were uh, acceptable. They're being left in for historical context and historical value. They don't reflect the thoughts or opinions of the LRG. But I mean, don't change it. Don't destroy what it was because you don't like it. Then it's not Gex. It's something else. Gex is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like I said, I think it's dumb that they would do this bullshit. All right, let's get back on topic to something that I thought was interesting, but not really. What's the word I'm looking for? Not really valuable. Not something I would buy. This is from TechSpot. Assassin's Creed haptic feedback shirt will let players feel every punch, stab, and fall. The partnership let players experience the world as the game's protagonist, Basim. Is that really what we want? Do we really want a shirt where every time you get punched in the game, you feel a little rumble in your stomach or your chest? Tommy O says, how do you feel about games that had localization changes from Japan where they used to make African American anime characters look strange? How do I feel? I feel the same way. I feel about everything. I don't like censorship. I don't like change. I think that if you're going to bring a game over, you should bring a game over as it is, right? If you feel that certain things in the game need to be changed because they're offensive or because your audience doesn't like them or because you are personally against such things, then don't bring it over, right? I would prefer that a game stays in its native country than to come over and have large swaths of it changed. So I want my Bayonetta haptic feedback underwear. This would be perfect for sim gamers. I don't know. This is going to go into a weird direction eventually. The adult companies are going to get a hold of this. Excuse me. It says, the big picture. Gamers are always looking for new ways to immerse themselves in digital worlds. Some like ultra detailed visuals, while others may prefer the clearest, most precise audio available. But for some, even the most advanced audiovisual technologies aren't enough to make the experience more realistic. Thanks to a partnership between Ubisoft and the haptic technology company OWO, Assassin's Creed fans will soon be able to take their experience one step further. Sometimes after a hard day, you just want to come home and unwind. Other times you want to come home, put on a tight shirt, and feel simulated punches and stabs. If you find yourself in that latter category, guess what? You're in luck. Assassin's Creed developer Ubisoft is partnering with haptic feedback technology developer OWO to release the Assassin's Creed Mirage Edition of its haptic gaming system. Look at that. Where Mirage meets reality. Feel the assassin. The haptic feedback shirt allows users to feel real physical sensations by manipulating waves associated with different types of feedback available in OWO's Sensations library. So you're going to feel a punch differently than you would feel a stab. The library includes sensations and experiences ranging from winds, stress, and free fall to dagger wounds, severe abdominal wounds, and shots complete with exit wounds. Sounds fun. Man, they're going to kill somebody one of these days with haptic feedback. The Mirage Edition is expected to ship with specs similar to those of OWO's Founders Limited Edition haptic feedback shirt. The Founder Limited Edition ships with 10 haptic sensors locations, 100 ohm high conductivity electrodes Bluetooth 5.2 connectivity, and an 8-hour rechargeable USB Type-C battery. According to OO's Assassin's Creed skin page, the Mirage Edition will also arrive with additional features, including an AC-styled Lycra shirt, 20 gel pads, a storage pouch, the OO device, and the Assassin's Creed game code. Hey, at least you get the game with it. Users can customize their individual experience using OO device and my OO app. The app provides the ability to calibrate and adjust the sensations and intensities delivered by the skin, ensuring a unique experience for every game user. Is that what you want to do? I just need a haptic sock. Beefy says, let me ask this. When did we get to the point that we wanted games to be realistic? If I wanted a realistic experience, shouldn't I just go outside? Yeah, but you can't go outside and like shoot people and stab them Assassin's Creed style. Right? But I do get what you're saying. I think we're going too far. I think we're turning the corner on this. It's like from games to like something else. How's these ads? You think there's not really a good way to market stab wounds, gunshots, and insect bites is a good time, but somehow OA has done just that. The company was selected as one of CES's 2022 Innovation Award honorees in the virtual reality augmented reality category. It was recognized again as an honoree at CES 2023, this time for its haptic feedback sleeve technology. Assassin's Creed Mirage is scheduled for release on October 12th this year for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Amazon Luna users. Amazon Luna is still a thing. The game will also be available to all Ubisoft Plus subscribers once released. So there you go. Do you want to feel all the punches and kicks? That's got to be weird. It's got to be weird. Tony is Skynet. Yeah. Destroying our Ready Player One future. Ready Player One is awesome. I don't care what anyone says. I love the book. The movie was pretty good. Once again, why would I want my gaming stabbings to be realistic? Wouldn't that be possibly problematic mentally? Maybe. VR corn is a beautiful thing. I don't think I'm ready for all that. The book is ass. The book is not ass. The book has many more references, and I like the. There are parts of the book that I don't like, and it's kind of slow, but the reveal on some of the things are better in the book. Isn't there a new Assassin's Creed coming in 2024 that is set in Japan? It is, and it's set in Japan, and it has like a black samurai, and it's weird. Ready Player One were both overrated. Oof. Bad take, PP. I don't understand. Don't understand. It has all the nostalgia. It has all the feels. Why would you not like it? All right. Let's go to more happy news. Because I don't know if anyone else has seen this. But the first look at Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the new Deadpool 3 costumes. Look at that. Look at that. Finally, you're going to get Wolverine in his actual X-Men costume. I'm sure some of this will be cleaned up in post. Look at that. Gold and blue. It's got the X-Men symbol on the belt. Looks fantastic. Looks fucking fantastic. I'm excited. I wasn't excited for Deadpool 3 before. Now I'm going to actually go ahead and watch both Deadpool 1 and 2 to get ready for Deadpool 3. If they do the rest of the characters the same way, needs his cowl. I think it's there. I just think you can't see it. They'll put in post the cowl in the back, like hanging. But it's pretty close to this, right? Pretty darn close. This also has me wondering when he's taking Wolverine, which Wolverine this is going to be. Is he going to get the costume? Is the costume new? Is the costume, given to Wolverine during the course of the movie, or is it part of the Wolverine experience that he grabs Wolverine? You know what I'm saying? And does he grab a younger Wolverine that's on the X-Men team? I hope they remove his sleeves post-production. Nah, the sleeves are good. Right, so you want like just bare arms with gloves, huh? Yeah, I can see it. I mean, he's also too tall, right? But we always known that. I do want to see how far they push it now that it's Wolverine is now in a R-rated universe. We're going to see Wolverine stabbing and cutting up people. Goes to show you the X-Men should have gone yellow and blue from the start. I always said that. I always said that they should have gone in their original costumes. But for whatever reason, they went with that whole black leather 90s thing and stupid. Deadpool was too corny for me. I don't like Deadpool as a character. I don't like the humor and his like zaniness and oh look at me, I said taco and that's funny. I said chimichanga. I don't like all that. I think it's stupid. But I do like Ryan Reynolds. I think he's funny. If it's toned down enough and it's not so off the wall, I could do it. Like I played Midnight Suns, and they got the Deadpool DLC, and it's actually pretty good in that. It's pretty good. Deadpool gave us Juggernaut, the real Juggernaut. Oh, I got to see that now. But X-Men wore yellow and blue in X-Men First Class. They did briefly, but they didn't have their like iconic costumes. Deadpool and Uncanny X-Force was enough of a dose of that character. Beefy, man. Beefy's always such a downer. Just enjoy life. So yeah, I'm excited for this now. I wasn't excited before, but I'm definitely excited now. I definitely want to see what the other characters are wearing, because we do know that there's going to be several other cameos and stuff. So I wonder if they're going to change them to be more comic book accurate. And I think with Deadpool, right, with a Multiverse of Madness, they try to keep it more serious and stuff. But I think with Deadpool going through the multiverse, you might be able to get comic book accurate versions. And if they look silly, I mean, it's a Deadpool movie. Yeah, it was stupid. They have like Uncle something jokes and stuff the whole way through. I don't know what that word is. Don't know what that word is. But yeah, Deadpool 3. I'm looking forward to it. Hugh Jackman's in the costume. And he loves Hall & Oates. I like Hall & Oates. What's wrong with Hall & Oates? Man, Tommy. Some of you guys just hate things. Just hate things. All right. Going from good comic book movies to bad comic book movies. We definitely got to talk about this. The Flash becomes worst box office flop in superhero movie history. Man, remember when everyone was saying, that's it, it's the greatest movie ever. It's the greatest superhero movie ever. Ezra Miller's fantastic. He's innocent. None of this is going to affect the box office. It's going to make billions of dollars. Oh, man. The Flash makes worst kind of history. Look at this. Because of the Flash's reported $220 million budget and $150 million promotional budget, the movie is likely to lose over $200 million for Warner Brothers, which would be the biggest financial loss suffered by a studio because of a superhero film. Ezra Miller's long gestating DC solo outing earned a meager $5.2 $1.23 million in its third weekend in theaters, bringing domestic total to a lean $99 million. Much was written about the movie's box office shortcomings after its more than 70% drop from its first to second weekend, but this third weekend number means the film was hit with another 62.5% drop in revenue from its already dismal second week total. To put it into perspective, even big budget films that were released during the height of the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, like Wonder Woman 84, which lost more than $100 million, did not fare as poorly as The Flash did comparatively. Wonder Woman 84, which is terrible movie, made more money than The Flash. DC heroes are ass. I agree. I am a Marvel fan, not a DC fan, but Batman is the only savior. I didn't see any Flash promoting. They were promoting the shit out of the Flash. They just were doing it without Ezra Miller. Batman minus the DCU is the best Batman. Oof. The animated Flashpoint Paradox movie is way better. I did see that. That is a good movie. I do like the strangeness of how everything works out after Flash fucks up the timeline. Thomas Wayne as Batman is fantastic. The Flash dethrones Warner's previous DC movie, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, for this infectious crown, a film that lost an estimated $150 million after making a meager $57.6 million at the domestic box office. The top 10 biggest superhero box office flops, not adjusted for inflation, list looks like is following. Number 1, Flash lost $200 million estimated. Shazam! Fury of the Gods lost $150 million estimated. Wonder Woman 1984 lost $137 million. Dark Phoenix lost $133 million. The Suicide Squad lost $130 million. Black Adam $100 million. Fantastic Four, I'm guessing that was the newer Fantastic Four. That lost $100 million. R.I.P.D. lost $92 million. The New Mutants lost $84 million. And Green Lantern only lost $75 million. Look at that. Flash is by far and away the biggest financial flop. What's the Flash box office mean for DC? To say the Flash has missed the mark for Warner Brothers and DC would be an understatement. The film, along with its direct DC predecessor, Shazam 2, could very well have done irreparable damage to the superpowered brand. Yes, Warner had to release Ezra Miller's movie at some point. Having been working on it in this form since 2019, it was a sunk cost, and they could not just cancel it. However, putting the money into it that was, especially on the promotional side, feels almost irresponsible. There had to have been internal indicators telling the studio this sort of financial return was coming, no matter how many Hollywood bigwigs came out in support of the movie. Ever since the announcement that James Gunn and Peter Safran would be taking over the DCU and pushing in a new era, momentum on the franchise has been slowing down. So the indicators were there. If the writing was on the wall, maybe a reevaluation of strategy could have been in line going into the release of the movie. While comments from some box office experts saying WB would have lost less money releasing The Flash on Max or not releasing it at all, maybe a little extreme, there had to have been a happy medium between what Warner did with the multiversal flop and a straight to streaming. And with 2 more DC movies still to debut before the Gunn Safran in Blue Beetle and Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, the downward spiral seems primed to continue for the franchise, at least from a financial perspective. One can only hope that one or both of these 2 remaining movies is at least good, and the Blue brand can start to pick back up steam with the release of 2025 Superman Legacy. The Flash is playing in theaters worldwide now. Green Lantern turned into a running gag for Deadpool. That's $5 million was worth it. Indy 5 will lose more money than Flash. That's untrue. Untrue. Indy 5 is actually probably going to break even, if not make money. A lot of people don't realize this. Since someone brought up Indy 5, we will go over to a good friend of the channel. We'll go over to his analysis of Indy 5 so we can see exactly why Indy 5 is not actually going to lose any money. Where are you at? There we go. Remember, this is not speculation. This is movie math. So here we go. Let me get the post up. Where are you at? Come on. Where is it? There it is. All right. So this is a post from Sean O'Hare. Not Sean O'Hare. Sean O'Rourke. Sean O'Hare's a wrestler. Where the hell's my mind at? Sean O'Rourke says, minimizing risk film financing. Disney is doing just fine. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Film incentives, refunds, tax credits, or rebates given by the countries. UK film incentive, 25% tax credit. Morocco film incentive, 30% tax credit. Italy, 40% tax credit. Glasgow, 150,000 cash rebate. Canada, 40% on VFX, 18% on labor. All marketing is 100% write-off US tax code. Minimizing risk film financing. Don't worry, Disney's doing just fine. So you see, with Indy having filmed in so many countries and getting so many tax write-offs, Indy might break even. It'll be a box office flop, but it won't be a financial flop or a financial burden on Disney. And that's the key, right? So, you know, when you hear all the people celebrating Disney losing all that money, and Disney's dying, Disney's going downhill, don't believe it. Don't believe the hype, is what I'm saying. A lot of people, especially on YouTube, say a lot of things. But it's just not the way it is. You know, take it from someone who actually works in Hollywood. Sean actually works in Hollywood. So, you know, I trust his analysis a lot more than some random YouTube Yahoo. All right. With that said, let's go over to the polls. We had some polls this week. All right. Where are we at? Where are these damn polls at? Here we go. So in case you missed it, you know, me and Bianca did a anime hour about Baki. We were supposed to do one this week, but personal things got in the way for both of us. So what we're going to probably be doing from now on is every other week will be an anime hour. We'll film it on Thursday. It'll be up on either Friday or Saturday, probably Friday, as long as my work schedule stays where I am off on Fridays. It'll be up on Friday. So yeah. All right. So we're going to go to 7 days ago, which was the Ask Me Anything that I put up. But we had some latecomers. You Super J was late. He says, who was driving the white Hummer? No idea. Probably Eric Bischoff in reality. He says, when did the NWO die? I think the NWO died when they started adding WCW wrestlers to the NWO. The original idea of the NWO was the invasion of an outside force, right? So Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hogan, Six, Ted DiBiase, Vincent, even Big Bubba sort of made sense when they added him, right? Because he was the big boss man. But when they started adding wrestlers that were 100% WCW guys, that's when I think the NWO just fell off. It was no longer cool, right? I mean, Rick Rude, WWF guy, Kurt Hennig, WWF guy. It's when they started adding like Horace Hogan and Stevie Ray, Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton. When those guys started being added to the group, That's when it got bloated. They were no longer top tier guys. So yeah. Who is my least favorite Amico cultist? Least favorite's got to be Rab. It's just so boring. It's just so boring. On a scale from 1 to 10, how ridiculous is John Alvarado's mustache? I would say John Alvarado's mustache is a solid 3. It's not that ridiculous. I actually think it's pretty cool. What movie disturbed you the most after viewing? The most disturbed I've ever been. When I was younger, I had to be about 9-ish. I went over by my aunts to stay over, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever seen this movie? It's called Children of the Corn." You ever seen Children of the Corn? I was like, "No, I've never seen Children of the Corn." They're like, "Oh, it's a fantastic horror movie. We'll put it on for you, and you could watch it, and then afterward, you just you go to bed." So I watched Children of the Corn by myself in a strange house because I was again at my aunt's house and not my own home. And I was watching Children of the Corn, and it freaked the fuck out of me. I was very disturbed. White people scared me. White children scared me for the longest time after that. Children of the Cornhole, yeah, I was scared. All the boys in my 6th grade class did the Nation of Domination salute. WCW and WWF showed kids how great it was to join gangs. Yeah, they did. They did. I won't deny that. Sorry. So that was the late edit by U Super J. So let's get back to the. And if you guys missed it, I did a Ray Z arcade chronology review on my website. Go to my website. Go check out thegeekgetaway.com. It's not as good as smashjt.com, but I think it's fairly good. We don't pump out as much content. All right, I said this one got 24 votes. Man, no one cares about the MCU. But will the Secret Warriors and Quake show up in Secret Invasion? Only 24 votes. 17% said yes. 13% said they will, but without Quake. 8% said Quake will, but not them. And 63% said no. Personally, I am leaning towards yes. The way the show's going, it's not great. Secret Invasion is probably right now my least favorite MCU television show. It is just bad. A lot of it doesn't make sense. Like Secret Invasion itself just does not make sense in the whole MCU scheme of things. You know, that Doctor Strange, all the gods, the Greek gods, the Norse gods, Heimdall, Loki, the Egyptian gods, all these people with all these supernatural abilities and super extraordinary perception, and not a single one realized that, hey, there's scrolls on Earth pretending to be humans. So that's dumb. Second reason it's dumb is they waited until everybody came back from the blip. You would think that if they were going to launch a Secret Invasion, when Nick Fury gets erased and there's no one around and half the Earth is gone and, the scrolls are stuck on Earth, you think then they would have launched the Secret Invasion in the 5-year gap. Right? Because it would have been easier. It would have been a lot easier with all the Earth being in panic because of half the population being zapped away. It would be easy to replace people, and no one would be the wiser, right? So the timing of when it takes place is stupid. And the third reason that Secret Invasion is completely dumb is because Skrulls have no hair, okay? So it's really easy. Like, they make it seem like it's super hard to figure out who a Skrull is and you don't know who you're talking to, when realistically, all you got to do is say, hey, cut off a piece of hair. Cut off a piece of hair. Beefy says Skrulls would have been blooped too. Their forces were down. Yeah, but they don't need a lot of forces. The whole point of Secret Invasion is that they're going to use subterfuge to cause a war, right? And then blanket the earth in radiation because they can survive radiation, humans can't. So during the blip, everyone's gone. It would be real easy to replace the heads of state and just bomb each other under the threat of, hey, I blame the other forces for getting rid of half the population, right? The Americans blame the Russians blame Americans, the Chinese blame everybody, and just shoot off all the nuclear missiles during the 5-year absence. But again, Nick Fury knows that there's Skrulls, right? And he's like, I can't figure out who's a Skrull. And it's like, dude, just tell them to cut off a piece of hair. Skrulls don't have hair. So when they assume human form, the human hair is actually not hair, it's skin. So if they cut the hair off, it would turn back into skin, and you'd be like, you're a Skrull. It's just that simple. It's literally just that simple, right? You don't need any fancy technology. You don't need X-ray machines. You don't need like DNA tests or blood tests. You can literally just say, cut off a piece of hair, and if that piece of hair transforms into green skin, that person is a Skrull. That's how stupid the show is. So, not surprised that not a lot of people care about this. All right, so I asked you guys a math question. Surprisingly, the math question got more responses than the Marvel question, but okay. It says, I have a 100-pound cube. If I buy a second cube, double the size of the first cube, how much will the second cube weigh? And I am so disappointed in you guys. So disappointed. So obviously, when I say double the size, that would be double all the dimensions, right? Double height, double width, double length. A 1x1 cube, a 1x1x1 cube, which is 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch cube. Double that would be a 2x2x2, right? So if anybody knows the square cube law, you know that the correct answer for this question is 800 pounds. 800 pounds. 100 pounds is incorrect. Why would something doubling in size even make 100 pounds? That doesn't even make any sense. 200 pounds, which the majority of you voted, 60% voted 200 pounds. I guess that makes a sort of sense, right? You just heard the double in size. It's got to be double in weight, right? No, it's not how the math does not check out. 400 pounds. I just threw that in there because if I put the correct answer, if I put 100, 200, and 800, people would have guessed the correct answer a lot more, and I didn't want people guessing it. So no, 400 pounds is ridiculous and doesn't even make any mathematical sense. I can't even imagine how you would have came up with 400 pounds as an answer. Beefy says double the volume. It's not double the volume. Double the volume. That's not, you are correct on the math. 2 to the third power equals 8. 8 times 100 is 100 pounds. Yes, but that's not double the volume. That's people don't read the wording in math questions. It's true. Main source of wrong answers. Yeah, but 400, like I said, the 200 kind of makes sense. But no, the reason I did this, the math is too hard. At least 7% were honest. The math is too hard. The reason I did this is because I was having a discussion with my father. And we were talking about Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2 specifically, where Ant-Man gets giant, right? And I said Ant-Man would weigh too much. He would weigh way too much in order to, to walk on the street. To even his bones would be too brittle in order to support his weight. That is the reason, right? The square cube law is the reason why animals can only get so big. It is the reason why animals. Uh, did you get olives on a sub this time? No, olives are nasty. I didn't bring up a sub. We were just, I was just over there uh, cutting the grass. So yeah, that's why things like King Kong would be way too heavy. King Kong doesn't make any sense. He could not exist. King Kong could literally not exist because of the square cube law. And that's why things in the ocean, right? Like whales, the biggest animals on Earth, are in the ocean because the gravity is not putting pressure on their joints and their bones and stuff because they are in water. Also, because of the square cube law, an animal like a ant, people are always like, "Oh my God, it's a giant ant," right? So if you got an ant to the size of a person, you could probably take it. You could probably beat the shit out of a human-sized ant because once again, while an ant can pick up 100 times its weight while it's ant-sized, as an ant grows bigger, it is losing its strength, right? Your strength does not increase proportionately to your size increase. So let's say Albert can lift 200 pounds, right? Albert can lift 200 pounds. If we doubled his size, right, Albert's not going to be able to lift proportionately to his weight the same amount. So if Albert weighs 200 and he can lift 200, if we doubled his size, Albert would be able to lift 400, but he would weigh 800. So he went from lifting his weight to lifting half of his weight, right? Is this Tony trying to tell us that his 6 times 7 IQ is off the charts? 198 IQ. GWG is now doing math. We are, because math is important. Math is the basis for a lot of things. But like I said, because, I like giant monsters and all that, and I'm just trying to go over why it's silly and why giant monsters and giant man and all that would just be dumb. So yeah. 800 pounds is the correct answer. And it's really simple to think about it, right? Because you double. So if you have a 1 by 1 by 1 cube, double its height. So then you would have 2 cubes high, double its length. Now you got 2 cubes length, and double its width. You got 2 cubes that way. So then we would have 8 1 by 1 by 1 cubes. 800 pounds. Albert is right. Math is the cornerstone of all knowledge. This is why Nolan told us to just believe when watching Tenet. Yeah, probably. I'm just saying that when Giant Man grows really big, he wouldn't be as strong as the movies make him out to be. What if the cube is hollow? Well, we're assuming that both cubes are identical in density, and it's proportionate. I mean, if the 100-pound cube is solid and the double the size cube is hollow, then yes, the weight would be completely different. Yeah, but good call there, Ludo. All right, the third poll question. Seeing that the FTC lost their injunction request, do you think Microsoft Xbox will be the new leader in gaming? 49 votes, 29% said yes, 71% said no. No. So you guys don't think that you guys don't believe that Xbox is going to take over. I also don't play. I think Sony's always going to be the market leader. Xbox has been trailing ever since Microsoft bought their way into the gaming sphere. Xbox has always been an also ran, and I really do think, in my heart of hearts, believe that Xbox is going to go the way of Sega and become a software company and just get out of the console market. Yeah, because it would make more sense with Game Pass, with their streaming, with their cloud gaming, to just basically say, hey, yeah, you could play our games on your PlayStation 6, 7, or whatever it is, and we're getting paid, right? We don't actually have to build a physical console. Leave that to Sony. Yeah. And Microsoft has been a software company. You know what I meant? A software gaming company, not a console maker. Also, cloud gaming. Yeah. What if Schrodinger's cat is inside the cube? Checkmate. Checkmate. Well, we don't know if it's alive or dead. 50-50 shot. 50-50 shot. Now, gaming leader, Sony is clown gaming. Yeah, but I think Sony's going to course correct in the next couple of years. All right. Last poll question. Should all video games 2 generations back? I always go 2 generations back and older, because obviously the brand new games shouldn't be preserved in libraries. But should all video games 2 generations back and older be put in public libraries and free to be checked out by the public? 69 votes, 22% said yes physically, 14% said yes digitally, 41% said yes both physical and digital, 23% said no, that's dumb. No, that's dumb. I think that the U.S. government should make new library-specific copies of the games, right? So put those things on CDs or whatever it is that we're using at the time, and it'll be like, have a little label on it that says library. When you boot it up, it'll say this is for the U.S. public library use or something. Give it a little loading screen, so that way it's not exactly the version. Like I used to have Blockbuster exclusives. This will be like library exclusive versions of the games. So that way people wouldn't be stealing them, right? Like, oh shit, the library just got robbed. They stole a bunch of old games. They stole the NFC cards, right? No one would be like, no. Microsoft 360 gave them a good kicking to their shit together, and the Xbox One happened, and Sony went back to their old ways. Yeah, but now they'll get another kick. They'll get another kick. Amico is the leader, and Tommy Tallarico is the gaming god. This is true. But they're on such another level that it doesn't even matter. It was funny, though, because the FTC basically said that PC gaming and Switch are not in competition with Microsoft and Sony. So I thought that was funny. So those were the polls this week. We'll have some more next week. We'll have some better ones. I forgot to put the members only Ask Me Anything, but you guys barely use that anyway, so I don't feel bad that I didn't put it up. Because like I said, you guys barely use that. Speaking of members, we have 12 members. We lost a member. Just dropping like flies. All right, so Haunted Wisp and Potion Sword Run are in the 7-month club. Aaron World Order, Finbar Saunders in the 6-month club. Sweet and Tender Hooligan and Tommy Amico, 5-monthers. Adam Wilson, Hugh Super J, and Justy Views in the 4-month club. Carla Acosta, Miss Susie in the 2-month club. And 56K Warning is only 18 days into his membership. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the members. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys watching, putting up with my bullshit, putting up with hearing me ramble on about things that I like. I'm going to try to get some new content for the channel. Going to try to put up some things. It's really hard, with work and everything. I'm more ambitious than I am motivated. I am more ambitious than I am able to accomplish things. But I'm going to try to get some more content out. We'll see how it goes. I'm having Fridays off now, so that should help me get some more content going. I do want to do like I said, the retro recommendations. We take a old retro game and say, hey, if you really like this older game, maybe you'll like this newer game. Right? I do want to put up some more reviews. I still got a couple games that I need to review. I got to get the website going again. So, I got to get focused, got to get motivated. But seeing you guys here in chat, seeing you guys pop on to a live stream, these are what make me keep doing this. If one day I put on a Gabbing with Geeks and there was 0 people in the chat, I would just hang it up. That would be the end. That would be the last episode. Have I played Diablo 4? No. I've never played a single Diablo. I wanted to play Diablo 4. But oh my God, that's such a time sink. You think I get nothing done now? I would get nothing done if I started playing Diablo 4. So, like I said, I'm going to try. Steam Curator, look into it. Oof. One of the issues I have, I don't understand, and I'm dumb, I will admit, but I have beaten, what did I say, 42 games? 43 games this year. And realistically, I think I only did 10. Out of the 43 games that I beat this year, I think only 10 of them got reviews. Which is dumb, right? Like, I'm playing the games already. I should probably review them. I haven't played Final Fantasy 16 either. I jumped off after Final Fantasy 13. That was the last Final Fantasy game I ever played. So I might get back into it. I hear it's more action oriented, and I'm not really big into that. I like my turn based. I did see that you were talking about the 7th Saga. I do remember playing that game on, and it was so fucking hard. That game is so hard. 13 had a great second half. I never made it to the second half. I was so bored that I couldn't power through to get. I think I got like 10 hours in. I'm just like, fuck this game. Review Power Wash, SpongeBob. I haven't played Power Wash. Review them. Just don't put it only on your site. 7th Saga is impossible. What I think is impossible about 7th Saga is that the cooler looking characters, like I want to play as the alien guy or I want to play as the devil guy, they're harder to use, right? It's like, hey, those guys look cool, but you should probably use the generic knight guy. Like I want to use the fucking robot guy. That guy looks cool. Review them. Just don't put it on your site. People on Steam search for reviews. Diversify your reviews. I could do that. I try to do both, like on the site and YouTube. I haven't looked into Steam curation thing, but I probably should do that too. But some of the games I play aren't Steam games, right? So, Front Mission First just came out. Yeah, I might get that. It reminds me of Saga series. Confusing. The first Saga game I love. Not the romancing Saga, but the what the hell was it? Saga Frontier? Saga, is that? I think that's what it's called. Let me think. I believe that's what it's called. The one that was on PlayStation. Yeah, Saga Frontier. That game was fucking fantastic. It had like 7 protagonists that you could use. I got the remaster or the remake. I got to play that too. But that game was fantastic. Saga Frontier 2, that game sucked. That game was terrible. The Romancing Saga series, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. But I like turn-based games better. They're more relaxing. They're more cerebral, right? Sitting there and thinking about what you're going to do and what's your next move and the risk reward of, do I attack or should I heal? Versus, I'm just really good at hitting buttons and rolling out of the way, right? That's why I don't really like action RPGs, because it's just like you could power through an action RPG if you're good enough. Whereas you have to actually know what you're doing, right? The gameplay mechanics. You have to understand how everything works for a turn-based RPG. Whereas a action RPG, you don't really have to know any of the mechanics. You can just keep slapping the button and just not get hit and win. Last year I played the Fire Emblem games on 3DS, Brilliant Strategy games. I heard they're good. I picked up, the Diofeld Chronicles on PlayStation. It didn't really win me over. I just beat Final Fantasy VI again. Love retro. I love those older Final Fantasy games, but they're too slow in the modern era. But like I said, I got 10 more games. I get through nine more games to hit the 52. So I might hit some RPGs up, some longer games. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up. It's an hour and 42 minutes, 43 minutes. It's fantastic. It's lovely. I might do some more streaming, gaming streaming soon. I got to hook up PlayStation 2 because I did buy the Intellivision Lives collection in order to stream it. So maybe I'll do that Friday. Put that, mark your calendars, pencil it in. Not 100% confirmed, but pencil it in for Friday. And I ain't wasting time playing games I don't like. I'm at 6 still. Lol. I dropped about a handful of games. I try not to play games I don't like, but if I spend money on them, I'm going to power through them. So, all right. Once again, thank you guys for coming here. Thank you for watching, for motivating me, for keeping me going on YouTube. I do this for you. I do it for you guys. Love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.